Mary Margaret, ready?
I'll start. Okay, we just want to say hello to all you guys out there in Colorado. Hope you all have fun. This is Pete Sterling with Mary Margaret Sterling, and we are going to tell you what we know about my dad and mom, Charles and Esther Sterling. So Mary Margaret's going to start this interview by asking me some questions, and I hope I haven't forgotten. We reviewed this very good, but I probably forgot most of the answers. But we'll go from here. Okay. Where do we want to start, Mary Margaret?
What were your parents like?
What were my parents like? My parents were, Dad was 6'2", Mom was 5'2". Big red-headed man and a dark black-headed lady. My dad was always a farmer and a rancher. My mom was a school teacher and a educator. My dad was a very strong man, a great storyteller with a good sense of humor. And my mom was the person who loved us and did all the wonderful things that a mother does, and corrected us and helped us with our schoolwork and things like that. The perfect couple, I would say. Daddy worked very hard and made a good living for all of his nine children. Let's see. Daddy didn't like to fish much, but we do. One of our favorite pictures is on our mantle up there right now, Dad. And go get that picture for me, please. And my dad and Mom in the late 1920s, I think, and they were down on the Rio Grande River, and so this is one of our favorite photos that we have of Dad and Mom back in the day when they were young and they were courting one another. May have been married at this time. I don't think so though. But anyway, that is what my dad and Mom started like. Okay?
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Edinburgh, Texas, Magic Rio Grande Valley of Texas, and spent my whole life there until I ran off to join the Navy, and went to school. Never moved out of I lived in the same house. Daddy built in 1945, he built a brick home, somewhat away from where his mom and dad lived, about 3 or 4 miles away, and it was a real nice home. We had a real big girls' bedroom and a real big boys' bedroom, and it was big to us back then, but maybe it wasn't really that big, but it looked big because I was little. So anyway, that's where I was born and raised.
What was your childhood like?
I'm sorry, what was my what?
Childhood like?
Childhood. My childhood was very exciting. I had some great times. And, living on a ranch and a farm was kind of difficult. I never had a bicycle, but I had plenty of horses to ride, and we were always playing. The big thing I did was play. I was the playboy, I think. I never let my work interfere with my play too much or too long, because I like to play, and Daddy he tried to work us. We weren't very good workers, and we'd be out there driving a tractor. We spent more time chasing rabbits than we did driving the tractor, but that was all part of it. But it was a lot of fun, a great place to grow up, could just go off and for the day on a Saturday or something and go pick grapefruit or oranges, and then come back in the evening and do whatever we had to do. But it's a great place to grow up.
What is your best and worst memory of your childhood?
My best memory was the livestock show. We had a livestock show every year in Mercedes, and they call it the Magic Rio Grande Valley Livestock Show, or the Rio Grande Valley Livestock Show. And we showed calves down there every year, like what we have out here now in the crowd. We showed calves. We got them very fat and real beautiful, and then we took them to the show, and the show was it was very competitive. Boy, you wanted, if there was any way possible to win grand champion, that's what we wanted, because and I think that's where some of some of us learned to be just so motivated with things. Started right there with that, with the cattle show. And I never did get never did get champion. I think Uncle Winnie, your Uncle Winnie, had one champion calf from Daddy's ranch. And that was, I think there was only one. We might have gotten a reserve champion, maybe Brother John might have gotten a reserve champion along there, I'm not sure. But anyway, that was our most fun. We got a week off of school, excused, and we got to go down and live in a cotton trailer for a week. And the carnivals was there, and all the rides, and all the elephant ears, and all the hot dogs you could eat. And we were just in seventh heaven. It was just a wonderful week. And all the kids that come out of school on a Friday, they would skip a half a day on Friday and come down. And so Friday was our big day, and all our friends came down, and we just had a big, fun week. And then we did sell our calves and made money. It was actually a money-making proposition for us. We made money, and that allowed us to buy nice new school clothes and things like that.
What was your worst memory?
My worst memory, well, every year is about the same time, about September. What do we normally do about September? What do kids, maybe the middle of August now for you, what is it that we all kind of do?
Start practice football.
Thank you. Back to school was the hardest. After the summer, and we've been playing, working, and having a good time, and then it was always, that was the hardest time for us, going back to school and saying, golly, I got to go sit in class all day long. So, but after a few weeks, we'd get over it.
Do you remember any songs that your parents used to sing to you?
Any songs that my parents sang to me. I do remember one, and we sang. Daddy taught John and I this song when we were just little tykes, about your age. Mary Margaret 10 now, going on 18. And so he sang this song to us in the pickup while we were looking at cotton fields and things. And somehow it kind of stuck. And at Daddy's, at Charlie's 85th birthday party that we had at Aunt Fanny's house, John and I sang it. So I'll remember it. I'll sing it again now, just for you, Mary Margaret. The name of it's by Napple Knee. So it goes something like, if I can remember the words, let's see how we get started. Out on Indian reservation, far away from civilization, where the foot of pale-face seldom trod, white man went to fish one summer, met an Indian, made a hummer, daughter of the big chief, spared a rod. White man threw some loving glances, took the maiden to some dances, smoked a pipe of peace and chances, living in a teep was made of fur, rode with her on Indian pony, gave her a diamond ring a phony, and these loving words he said to her, "You are my pretty little Indian Naponi. Won't you take a chance and marry me? But his daddy has cheaped his mind belief to a very merry wedding he'll agree. True, you're a dark little Indian maid, but I'll sunburn to a darker shade. I'll wear feathers on my head, paint my face an Indian red, if you'll only be my Naponi." Soon papooses came in numbers, Indian yells disturbed his slumbers, white men wondered at his blunders, and the feathers drooped upon his head. Now too late, but still he's a-wishing that he'd never gone a-fishing, or had seen that Indian maid and said, "You are my pretty little Indian Naponi. Won't you take a chance and marry me? But his daddy has cheaped his mind belief to a very merry wedding he'll agree. True, you're a dark little Indian maid, but I'll sunburn to a darker shade. I'll wear feathers on my head, paint my face an Indian red, if you'll only be my Naponi." So that was one of the songs Dad taught us, and somehow I managed to remember it over the years. I don't know how. But Mary Margaret did find it on the internet the other day, so it is a published song out there. So somebody else knows it besides John and I.
Who has been the biggest influence on your life?
Oh, well, my dad, of course. And he started, with the work ethics and teaching us how to go about doing things. And especially on the farm and doing jobs, finishing jobs, taught us how to be responsible. And I did have another man, my mentor in the service, the first one that I came in contact with, had a big influence because he changed. He really did kind of turn me around as being kind of a wild playboy that I was there for a while. He turned me into a harder worker and made me more responsible and made me realize that education was more important. And so Billy Cannon was his name. He taught me how to smoke short Lucky Strikes. I remember that. Took me a few years to get over that. But after we got over that, the rest of what he taught me was really good and kind of helped me turn my wild roots around some.
Is that all the influence that person taught you? Is there any more influence, any lessons that person taught you?
Well, yeah, between Daddy and him. My dad told me when I was I guess it was about the time I was getting ready to go into service, he said that there was something I should always remember, that in the workplace, when I was out there working, wherever it was, I would never be the smartest person in the room. I would never be that person. But I could be the hardest worker. And no one could stop me from doing that. So, he said, hard work will make up for just not being quite as smart as the next guy. And most employers will, they really can see that. And normally the hard worker will go to the head of the line in life. So if you just continue to work hard and don't let anybody else outwork you, you'll go to the head of the line.
What are the most important lessons you've learned in life?
I think did we cover that? That's the most important lessons. Well, you have to have a lot of patience. you have to be motivated. And you need, what's the word I'm looking for? You need self-discipline, I think, is a good one, a real good one. All of us have been through times where we all cheat a little bit here or there. We either get a little bit too fat, or we smoke, or we might have some bad habits, but with self-discipline, you can overcome those. And once you just tell yourself, say, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I think that the military and my dad's early training, even though I didn't pay much attention to it at the time, not as much as I should have, had a lot to do with self-discipline.
What are you proudest of?
Oh, my family. Now you'll make me cry.